this fish on a Do It banana head jig that I tied on with fantasy fur or craft fur, and I did it myself. Why don't we take you to the jig bench and let's show you how this product is tied and basically what it's made of. Now I'm going to take my fur, and this is the first time that I'm going to pick up my scissors, so that when I'm picking up my scissors, my speed and efficiency is going to come in here. I'm going to take that, I'm going to trim that stinger hook knot. I'm going to trim this excess amount of line or bobbin thread that I've got hanging there, and then I'm also going to trim off that excess piece of line from tying that stinger hook. So that's done. And as you can see here, you're probably wondering what this is. That's a little magnet that I taped onto that vise so that I can take that hook and it sticks that hook up onto that magnet and gets it out of the way. Now I've got a lot of friends that do this in a multitude of ways. Some of them actually take that magnet and they put it on the bottom there. It's up to you, but what that little magnet does is that gets that hook out of the way, and then I can tie my jig. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to cut off a healthy amount of fantasy fur. You can use bucktail, whatever you're tying your hair jigs with. Your preferences is fine. There's really no wrong way to tie up a hair jig. And in this instance, I'm probably with a stinger hook jig. Oftentimes what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a minnow in conjunction with this, so I don't use a tremendous amount of this fur. This fur is going to be on there, this fantasy fur is going to be on there for effect and to give it a little flash and give it a little color. But once I trim that on there, all I got to do is put it on there, and I'm going to make a couple of big wide wraps. Make sure that that's completely rolled around so that I get good coverage. And then those loose ends, I basically just use thread. And you know what? It's always better to err on the excessive side when you're adding your thread. You know what? That red dot's going to look like a fish's gill, or if you use black thread, it's going to look like a shad dot. But the more thread you use, the more secure that jig's going to be. I throw in about 3 or 4 overhand knots on that, pull it tight, and then I set my bobbin down and I do my final trim, which is just trimming that jig right there. Add a liberal amount of head cement, to where you take your head cement and you just put a big dollop right there on that. What you could actually do is you can even take this and if you've got the right vise, you can turn it upside down and you can put it right where your knots are at. And what that'll do is that'll expand or go across that thread, and that head cement will set in there and secure everything and glue everything. So even if you didn't tie the best of knots, all that head cement will glue everything together and then it'll hold it there. But when it's all said and done, and when you've tied that jig, what you basically have as a finished product is you've got your jig head, you've got your stinger hook, and you've got your total offensive package in order to go and attack those light biting walleyes.